now. We have welcomed out Julie Aldama today. She's the Director of Financial Aid for the institution. Our goal for this today, it's the first time we've been doing it not only just as an athletic department, but as an institution. Our goal for this today was to open up some any Q&A or any questions that we might have regarding the renewal process, right? Making sure that we all know what the process, maybe some issues or speed bumps that we might run into in the renewal process from year to year, even over our 4 years here, or the couple of years if we did transfer in. So what we've asked for Julie to do is kind of go over a basic Q&A session that some of our representatives from the Poet Student Leadership Academy, it's our leadership group, have presented with some issues that they've heard of or other questions that they're unsure about when they're going through it. So she's going to kind of go off that little bit of Q&A and re-navigating the process. And then at the end, if anybody has any questions that didn't get answered, you are welcome to jump on in on that. So you want this?
Can you hear me? I don't have a loud voice, but
do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So do we have the PowerPoint or no?
It's coming.
Okay, it's coming. Okay. So kind of started. I appreciate you asking to be here, and I kind of want to start it with FAFSA.
I accidentally turned it off.
There we go. It's me. Okay. So FAFSA. Does anybody know the date that you need to renew it each year? Students? The date you need to renew the FAFSA each year? Do you know what that date is? Who's that? Yeah, October 1st, so which is good for you. It used to be January 1st, it is now October 1st. So you can start that early. I encourage you to, because the sooner we get FAFSA, the sooner we can start packaging for the following year and take care of any issues or forms or documents you might need. So another thing reads into, I think one of the questions was, even if we don't feel we're going to get into financial aid, should I fill the FAFSA? And the answer is yes. For one thing is, you might not think you have the eligibility for certain funding, but you may have the eligibility. So it's important that go ahead and fill it out. It doesn't really take that long. It's not as scary as you may think, because I know some families think it's pretty scary to put all their information on there, but it's not. And it's important to see if you're eligible for loans, grants, work study, that's another one. Also, for a parent to be able to apply for a Parent Plus loan, you need to have had the application in for FAFSA. If a family hasn't filled out FAFSA, they can't apply for a Parent Plus loan. So I know a lot of families here, hi, come on in, come on down. A lot of families here want to do the Plus loan, so it's important that they fill out the FAFSA for that. And you never know, during the year, situations happen, life happens, which is what we say. Sometimes parents may lose their job, or change jobs, or lessen their income. And if we have a FAFSA, we can definitely work on that with you, and much quicker than waiting for you to fill it out and work on that. So those are important reasons why you would fill out the FAFSA. Okay, so let's talk about units. Everybody enrolled right now, 12 units? Yes, perfect. Okay, so if you don't enroll in 12 units by the last day to add a class, some things will happen. First of all, you can't receive that John Greenleaf Merit Scholarship that you have on your ward. That is only given to you if you're full-time, which is 12 units at the least. So if you don't see that paid, then there could be a reason that you're under-enrolled. And that's a big grant for you, and it's free money. So it's really important that you want that free money. Okay. Another thing is you wouldn't be able to perform work study. So without being a full-time student, whether it's federal work study or with-year work study, you would not be able to work if you're not a full-time student. And I know a lot of us rely on the work study, so it's really important. You would be eligible for federal loans though. So your loans would be safe. You can go down to 6 units and still get your federal loans. So you would have your federal loans. You can have a prorated portion of your Pell Grant and your Cal Grant, but it would only be prorated. So you wouldn't get the full amount. So those are things that would help you, because even if you're in 11 units, you're going to get charged for the 11 units. But if you're minusing all that aid, you're going to pay more out of pocket. Another thing is if you're below 12 units in a semester, that could put you on financial aid warning or even a financial aid suspension. And I'll talk to you more about that portion of financial aid. Is that me? In another slide. So, but that's important for you to know, because sometimes I know that you're kind of worried about a class, how you might be doing, maybe you're not doing so well in it, or maybe you're concentrating more on your other classes. So you kind of talk to your advisor or your professor, and that's perfect. That's what we want you to do. But if they're advising you to drop that class, which will take you under the 12 units, and you're past the date to add another class, then it's important that you come talk to financial aid office. Why? Because it can get you a financial aid warning or suspension. So you definitely want to make sure that you talk to come and talk to us first before you drop that class, and we can talk you through it, and then you have an informed decision to make whether or not you want to go ahead and drop those units or drop that class. Okay? I've had a few that I've had to put on warning or suspension, and they said my advisor told me to drop it. So it's really important to talk to us as well. There's one other, so anybody here seniors? No? Okay. So did you raise your hand? No? In seniors, sometimes you don't need to take 12 units, and we recognize that. So that's another time you should come and talk to us, because we can calculate whether or not, if you only need 6 units to graduate, how much that would be out of pocket for you, or would it be worth you taking another 6 units, maybe classes you weren't able to take as a student, and get your full aid to pay less out of pocket. So that's a calculation that we very much like you to come and see us, so we can, again, give you the best decision for you and your family and what you need to pay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. I kind of mentioned the satisfactory academic progress for financial aid. It is a little bit different than your academic standing with the college as far as your registrar. So for financial aid, what happens is one semester below 2.0 and 12 units. So it's the both, it's a combination or either or. You'd be put on warning. Warning status, you can receive your aid for the next semester without a problem, but we're going to be looking at the next semester 2 times in a row. If you've dropped again, either units and or 2.0 GPA, that's when you go on suspension. This is a federal government guideline, not Whittier College Financial Aid Office. We're not mean, but it's a federal guideline. So it's important that we abide by the rules and help you abide by the rules. There is an appeal process if that were to happen to anybody, where you can appeal, and we go over the reasons for you dropping, and also what's your plan of action to get back on track. Any questions? No. Okay. Now, I did have some questions about scholarships. So for Whittier College, I'm going to sum it up to like 3 different types. One are the outside scholarships. The outside scholarships is the ones you seek out and you bring to the college. So you may go Google, you may, if you're new from your high school, you may have brought one in from your high school, you may be softball players, you're getting them from outside entities. So there's different ways, but those are scholarships that come from the outside companies that you're bringing in. All those scholarships, excuse me, should come through the financial aid office. We'll put it on your award letter, we send it to the business office, and then they take it off your account. That's one way. We do send monthly emails to you. I don't know if any of you have noticed yet or received them yet, so hopefully you are. But I send it to the listserv, monthly emails, and a list, many scholarships for you to apply to every single month. That's the biggest way that I have reached out or tried to reach out to students with outside scholarships. We do have a list in our office as well. Sorry, actually, the person that finds all the scholarships for our department is here as well, Mr. Scafidi, and he sends them to me and we post them. So if you're looking at your emails and opening those essay scholarships, you're going to find a large list. CAS also has a board, a scholarship board in there, and we cooperate with them where we'll send them our list. They put them on the board too. So those are two places for sure that we help you to find those essay scholarships. Whittier College has scholarships as well, but some of them have specific criteria. So we do have like a Nixon Scholarship, and those scholarships are for students that are Republican, and I usually give those out to the Republican club, and then they distribute them. They're specific. We have one for on campus, women or men that have children. So that's specific to those that have families that they can apply for scholarships. We also have the Rotary Scholarship, and that's specific to juniors that are involved in community. So we don't have a lot of those scholarships. We have just a handful, but they're specific. So if you're not invited from my department to apply, it's because you might not meet that criteria. So we have to, because the donors are requesting a certain population of students, those are the ones that get the email to apply for. Another scholarship that some of you may or may not have seen on your awards throughout your time here are called endowments. On your awards, they say scholarship. They could say growth scholarship. They could say Harrow Scholarship. So those are what we call replacement scholarships. So it's a replacement for our Whittier College grant funding that we have here, that the donors choose to give our students to help them with their aid. You might say, why am I writing a thank you note? Why do I have to apply for it? Why are you telling me about these when it's replacing the money I already have? Biggest reason is it's a resume builder, because there it is. Yeah. So the biggest reason is it's a resume builder. You get contact with those donors, which is possible job. So it's really, really good on your resume to say, I have the Gross Endowment Award scholarship, and different than the Whittier grant, because they see it as a company invested in you and gave you a scholarship. So those are positive things, and that's why those are replacements. Also, some of them, the donors will come to an annual luncheon that's given by advancement for the donors that come to the luncheon, and the donors like to meet you students. So those students that particularly receive those endowments are the ones invited to that scholarship luncheon. Again, I don't have enough to spend on the entire student body. So it's those students that receive that scholarship that meet the criteria of the donors are the ones that will go ahead and get invited to the luncheons. Part of this is students forget to fill out a tab on their My Whittier under financial aid. Have you all gone to your My Whittier and clicked on financial aid awards? Yes. Okay. And there's a tab that says resources. And I know it's easy to skip because it's not a tab you are required to complete. I encourage you to complete that, because on there it asks your hobbies. What are your plans after graduation? Were you a Girl Scout? Are you a donor? What do you plan to do? Are you planning in your career goals? What hobbies? What scholarships have you gotten here at Whittier and beforehand? And that's how I match students to the donors. So it's really, really important. Don't skip that tab if you can avoid it, because I definitely go in there and I look and, okay, it's this student is this, I can match them with that donor, and that's how you get matched. Yes?
The endowment ones, are those new? Like if they're a sophomore, junior, or senior, are those under like a new application process, or do you go to them and say, you qualified for this, do you want to do it?
I don't ask the students. I look who matches, and then I'll respend it on them. With the exception of, there's probably a couple of them, I don't usually ask the students if they want it. I have had students reach out to me and pose the question, why do I have to say thank you when they didn't give me anything extra? And then I kind of talk to them about the reasons why, which is the resume building, things like that. And it's their choice. If you say, no, I want that grant back, don't mess with my account, I certainly can do that too. Yeah. Let's talk about the
I'll do it.
that four-letter word, loans. You all have loans here? Anybody doesn't have loans, or you're all borrowing? Yes? Some? Yes, okay. So the reason why I wanted to bring up loans and grants is because we have disbursement blocks, is what we call them. So if something's not done or not created or not completed, it can block it from dispersing on your aid. Yesterday, we dispersed a lot of money on your accounts, and we're still working in these next couple of weeks to make sure we get the keys out, disperse everything on your accounts. However, these are some blocks that can happen if in order for us not to disperse. So, not completing a master promissory note. So anybody that's borrowing a federal loan needs to complete a master promissory note to get that loan, or it won't pay. Not completing the loan entrance counseling, that goes hand in hand with that master promissory note to complete them both before we can disperse the federal loan. That's again federal guidelines, so it's important that you remember these. If you see my loan didn't pay, it's maybe because one of those two have not been done. Not completing a cash management form. Do y'all know what that is now? Okay. So cash management form is actually a form that we're required to have you sign yes or no to. So it's a form that's saying you can disperse all my federal aid onto my account. You acknowledge it, yes. If you don't, we cannot apply any of your federal aid to your account, which means it's out of your pocket. So most students here will say yes and apply, but we need to give you that option because we've offered you those aids, you accepted them, but now you say yes, disperse it, go ahead. That's what the cash management is for. It's also for, say you have excess money on your account, $500, $1,000, and you want that refund. It's also acknowledging that we can give you that refund, also, or we can hold it on your account until you ask for it. Because there's a time frame we have to hold it, and there's a time frame that we can give it to you. But it's your decision to say, hold it until I need it, and then I'll go get it, ask for it, or write me that check right away. So that's what that cash management form is. It's also now for Cal Grant. So if you have a Cal Grant B, that portion of a Cal Grant is access money that you can use for books and anything like that, that we also need your permission to apply onto the account for going towards tuition and fees rather than you're taking it out. So those are all part of that cash management form. It's also now, we kind of combined it with another form this year to eliminate as many forms as we can for you. So in 2021 year, you're not going to have the financial aid terms and conditions on your My Whittier to complete. We combined it with this cash management form. So we're hoping that helps eliminate that extra form you have to do. So that one, terms and conditions, has on it the terms of financial aid. So being 2.0. If you change your housing, let us know, because it can affect your aid. If you get in a scholarship, let us know. If anything happens, so it's outlining the terms and conditions of accepting your financial aid. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay. Another big obstacle is completing verification documents. So what I mean by that is some FAFSAs, we actually have to verify 30% of our students that fill out a FAFSA that comes to Whittier College. So that's our number from the government. And what that means is we need to collect your financial aid documents such as taxes and verification forms, or if you didn't file taxes for the year that the FAFSA is asking for, which is this year is 2017. Next year would be 2018. But if we don't get those documents, that definitely is probably the biggest blocker, because it can't pay any aid onto your account. It means we need to verify what you put on the FAFSA income and assets to what the actual taxes are before we can disperse. The biggest thing I want to tell you is use the data retrieval tool. The FAFSA has the option where you can actually transfer your data right from the IRS, your parents' data or your data if you filed onto the FAFSA. This way, that data is there. I don't have to ask you for the taxes. You don't have to ask your parents. They don't have to dig them up or try to go get the transcript from the IRS, because I know that can take up to 6 weeks to get, and that holds you up. So transfer right away, and we already have it, so then we're only looking at the extra verification document to bring in. Okay. So communication is a big thing. Believe it or not, and I'm going to ask you this question too about communication, because it's really not easy for us to communicate with you at times. And I know you get a lot of emails from the college, you get a lot of emails from different places, you get a lot of emails from different departments here, so you kind of probably, I don't want to look at that one today. Or maybe it skipped past and then you never even saw it. But this is how we communicate with you. Most of my email from our department. We send out tracking letters. So tracking emails or telling you you're missing a document, look on your My Whittier. Lately I've been sending out student lists of emails, so everybody look on your My Whittier, see if you have any missing documents that you need to turn in, that you haven't turned in yet, even down to the thank you note for those endowments. It's all important to have all those green checks on My Whittier rather than the red checks you see. So it's important for you to look at the emails, check your My Whittier. If you're not sure, come by and see us. We are open Monday to Friday. Or send me an email or send any of my staff an email and we can check for you if you're not sure how to check. But this is the way we communicate the most, by email. Again, I told you we send out the student listserv with scholarships. That's an important email not to miss. We will call you, make phone calls. Sometimes we can get a hold of you and sometimes we can't, and granted we know that because you're in class and there's different hours, different times. It's not set time. So we try to make them later in the afternoon so we can give you a call. And then of course, another way we communicate is on your My Whittier. So regularly check your My Whittier portal, and just to make sure, especially right now, this time to begin spring semester, so the start of any new semester, it's super important for you to check your My Whittier. If you have any red checks, let's try to take care of them so we can make sure we pay your aid. Question for you. I just told you we communicate through email, we communicate through My Whittier. How would you say might be the best way to get a hold of you, or students in general? Do you have any thoughts?
Email.
Email's the better way for you?
Typically.
Text message. Would everybody like a text message? Or do you think
I'm okay.
you're okay with that?
I'm okay with either both text and email.
Text and email? Which one do you think you'd pay attention to more?
Probably email.
Your email, and all you ladies are text better? Do you think that I would, so I had some students say, no, you're invading my phone number. You're thinking. So that's something we actually are looking into, more text messaging. I think our admissions team is going that way for like incoming students, and see if that's some way we can adapt that, and maybe it'll help us to reach you better. Okay, so takeaways. What's the first one?
Check My Whittier.
Yes, everybody please say this line. Check My Whittier. That's your biggest friend. It'll have all those red marks on it, or it'll have all the green marks, or a combination. Again, anything red is something you still need to do. And then read the emails. For right now would be the emails. Just quick open it. Oh, it's not that important to you. Close it. I just sent one out today because I need to hire a couple work study students for spring. So that just went out today. Read your student aid report. Do you know what that one is? No? Okay, so when you fill out the FAFSA, you get an email back from them with the student aid report with everything on it that you put. So on there, it will tell you if you're selected for verification. The financial aid office might need other documents. It'll tell you right on there. So you'll know as soon as you file a FAFSA, you get that back in about 2 weeks. Read it. It's important. It tells you how much out of pocket your parents might have to pay or you might have to pay. It tells you what you're eligible for, and it'll also give you your loan debt on there. It's important to pay attention to what you're missing. I can't stress that more. If you don't submit your documents, what will happen? We can't pay your aid, right? Biggest thing. Then what happens? Can't pay your aid, so you have a balance, so you can't register for classes. We're all connected, the opposites. Another thing is, if a semester ends, and say you were selected for verification, you're not enrolled for spring because you still have a balance. You haven't turned in the documents that I needed for fall to pay your aid, but you turn them in Jan term thinking, okay, it's done. I was really, really busy in fall to turn them in, but that semester's done and you're not an enrolled student yet for spring. I can't go backwards and pay your aid. So it's really, really important to get your docs in during that semester that you're in, that you're asked for. I know you're all busy, so are we, but it's really important for you to get everything in, you get everything paid per semester. This way you don't have to worry it for spring. It's all in from fall. You don't have to worry about it. It's a cycle, and like I kind of said, if I don't pay your aid because I can't get the documents, you can't register, business office has a balance, they're gonna contact you, and we go like this. So these are just really more important things I want to leave with you. That's how financial aid works, but I am open to hear questions you might have. Yes?
I have one. So let's say, for example, I'm in my third year right now, and my last fall semester, I got really great grades, like over like 3.0, and how come is it that my financial aid that I got is not like kind of like high enough in terms of like money that I had to like kind of like pay for?
You're talking about because this semester your grades went up?
Yeah, I mean, it's because I was elected on the dean's list the last fall, so.
Okay. So it's definitely a great when you've been on the dean's list, your GPA's up, and that offers you a lot of different opportunities. But for financial aid, it doesn't change your financial aid. We don't recalculate based on whose GPAs go higher as far as any kind of grants or merits or things like that. So your financial aid is based on need, it's based on what we receive as a FAFSA. And you need to maintain that 2.0, but it doesn't go up as your grade level or GPA goes up.
One more question, if I may. Like let's say like if I'm graduating next year, and like will this affect my financial aid like when I come back to get my master's? Like will it have like an impact on my financial, or like after I'm done with my undergrad year?
What happens when you become a grad student?
Yeah, like in terms of financial aid, like will anything change or like?
It will change. First of all, once you become a grad student, you're independent. You're considered independent, not a dependent, no matter what your age is at that time. So anybody that's right now as an undergrad, 24 years or under, you're considered dependent, unless you have special circumstances to make you independent. But as a grad student, even if you're 22 or 23, you're considered independent. So definitely your aid will change, and depending upon what university you decide to go to for your grad program.
Okay.
With the tuition freeze, does that mean we're going to be paying the same amount as this year, or are things going to change?
You'll pay the same amount as far as tuition. It depends whether you live on campus or you live at home.
Okay.
So that can change a little bit, but your tuition definitely will stay the same. And as long as your need stays the same on your FAFSA, your aid will roll over for the next year.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
At my scenario question, say, right? Student athletes and get the 2.0 number. I know they get an email saying that if that happens again for the next semester, they're asked to take the next semester off, or the year off. Will that year that you didn't do good, will the FAFSA change? Will that things like all the grants that you have, will that be taken away?
So the year that you're not here, are you speaking about, or when you come back?
The year that you didn't do good, will that FAFSA money change for when you come back?
When they're readmitted.
Okay, so it depends. If you readmitted, say you're here in fall and you're not here in spring, but you come back the next fall, that's a whole different academic year, so it's a different FAFSA.
Okay.
So if your need's the same, it won't change, but if the need changes, it can change, yes. However, the John Reed Merit Scholarships do not change. Those will stay as long as you're in academic standing, and if you make that appeal, those don't. But the need part of it could, from year to year. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
When should returning students anticipate their financial aid packages to be released?
Sure. For this upcoming year, 2021, we are projected to start packaging returning students in March and have them hopefully all completed by the time you go home in May or by June at the latest this year. As long as we have all your documents in, we have your FAFSAs, we have any extra verification documents we need. You will start packaging in March this year. I'm also, which is going to be new this year, going to package students that are missing verification documents as an estimated award. So it's potentially, you're going to get a financial aid package, but you're still missing those documents. So remember, you still have to turn them in order for you to verify and to pay the aid next fall. But you'll know what your package is a lot earlier, so you can start your payment plans and things like that. Anybody else? No? Okay, well, thank you so much for having me. Maybe we'll start a new thing going on here. Yes.